Gentlewoman from Connecticut is recognized for 1 minute.
I rise in strong opposition to the rule. It sets into motion the repeal of the Affordable Care Act. This, quote, repeal-only bill takes money intended to fund health care for middle-class families, and it hands it to the wealthy families and to big health corporations in the form of tax cuts. The public does not know this. According to the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities, this bill would give the 400 highest-income families in the United States an average tax cut of $7 million a year. It would rob millions of families of the money they need for their insurance. It hands it over to the wealthy, including nearly $250 billion over 10 years in tax cuts for health insurance companies and drug manufacturers. Where are the majority's values? We should be providing more Americans with health insurance, not fewer. We should be creating jobs, not eliminating them. This bill is a disgrace. It is a betrayal of the working families of this nation. Now, I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Georgia.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself 30 seconds just to say absolutely none of that is true. Absolutely not one word of that is true. This bill does not one of those things. This bill does, in fact, nothing to change the law at all in any way, shape, or form. It's not true. This bill provides a process for debating the law, and I certainly hope we'll pass it so that we can have that debate. I yield back.
Gentleman from Massachusetts.
30 seconds and reserve the remainder of my time.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentleman from California, Mr. Khanna.
Gentleman from California is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in strong opposition to this bill, which will set forth the repeal of Obamacare. But I also am concerned that the bill doesn't have a basic amendment, which would allow for the importation of drugs from Canada. Senator Sanders courageously yesterday on Wednesday night, went on the floor and introduced an amendment to allow for the importation of drugs from Canada that the overwhelming number of Republicans and Democrats support. It was appalling that 13 Senate Democrats voted against the Sanders amendment. And they did so because the pharmaceutical industry is a cancer on this body. The pharmaceutical companies' contributions are a cancer. We need to allow for the importation of drugs. We need that to be an amendment to this bill, and we need to take it up as a body. Thank you.
Gentleman from Georgia.
Mr. Speaker, I'd advise my friend from Massachusetts I do not have any further speakers and would be happy to close when he is prepared.
Yeah, before I do, I would like to yield 30 seconds to the gentlelady from Connecticut, Ms. DeLauro.
Gentlelady from 30 seconds for Connecticut is recognized for 30 seconds.
Report by Families USA issued said repeal of the Affordable Care Act equals a huge tax cut for the wealthy. What people don't know, and the public doesn't know at the moment, that this will hand over to wealthy and major corporations. They're going to get new tax breaks worth nearly $600 million, more than $500 billion over 10 years, $345.8 billion over 10 years in tax cuts with people who have incomes over specified thresholds, $200,000 for single individuals, $250,000 for families. There's $274.4 billion over 10 years going to health insurance companies, drug manufacturers, and other large health care corporations. That is what repeal of the Affordable Care Act does. And my colleagues need to face up to that, and the public needs to know it.
Gentlelady's time has expired.